Jesus does a miracle before he does the miracle at Cana. And John says that the miracle at Cana was his first miracle. Tell me, am I missing something big by having this miracle come before the wedding?
Yeah, I probably would have made the wedding miracle the first one, and this one second. I would, if I were you, I would film the wedding scene without Peter present, because if Peter saw that miracle, then maybe that would have been his calling point. Jesus had some disciples already when he did the miracle, but it doesn't say that he had all 12 of them.
But I think the caveat to that is, I think the book of John says all the books of the world couldn't contain the miracles that he did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, John has a very specific point of what he's trying to do, which is trying to show that Jesus as a greater than Moses. And the first reason why that's the first miracle is the first miracle Moses did was turn the water into blood. Jesus is the greater, he turns the water into wine. And so he's the greater than Moses motif, which John really builds on. But I think even going back to some of the uncomfortability that I have, I think as far as, look, good stories, good dramas have to be redemptive. So from the perspective of being redemptive in nature, I think it's, wonderfully told and significant the way it's portrayed.
Yeah, I looked at it and I prayed about it when we talked about it, and I wrestled with you guys a little bit about it. I do feel like we captured the intent of Scripture, which is that when we encounter Jesus at a low point, it is both the most discomforting and joyous moment that one can have, because you're faced with holiness, and there's such a, like, we are so by nature unholy that when we encounter Jesus and the holiness of Jesus, again, Moses had to take off his shoes because he was on holy ground. But we all have various degrees of that, and so in the Catholic tradition, I know that when I've been with evangelicals when I've been on tours, like choir tours, and we'll walk into a Catholic basilica and at times feel uncomfortable with just how in many ways, how beautiful it is, and it feels like it's an attempt to capture the beauty of God and Jesus, which we find impossible. And so it almost feels Tower of Babel-ish to us, that like, what are you trying to reach here with this building? Are you trying to physically capture God, which we find impossible? So help me walk through that. What am I missing?
First of all, a lot of the cathedrals were really trying to tell the story of God, to invite people into an experience of the transcendent. So, like, the point of a cathedral is always get you to look up. And it's also to make you feel small, so that that when you walk in it, that you feel dwarfed by the images that evoke a sense of presence of God around you. Human beings can tend towards superstition that looked on some of those images as God, but that would never have been the official teaching. It was always to say that it points to. So, like, I can have, a man could show me a picture of his children and kiss the picture of his children, but he knows he's not kissing his children. Right. It's just evoking a sense of his children and the love that he has for them. That would be the Catholic sense of the art.
Well, you mentioned the desire to make them feel small when they walk into a basilica. That's one of the reasons why, again, we have Simon get off the boat, stands in front of Jesus and falls to his knees. And he's looking up. Well, he's looking down, and Jesus says, "Look up," which is, again, I drew a little bit of that from, like, Jesus when he says, "Lift your head, fishermen." That was intentional, and that's, so he looks up. And then I remember that I had a moment where we were rehearsing the scene, and I was telling the actors where to stand and so I said, you'll come over here, and Simon falls to his knees in this immense honor. And Jonathan, who plays Jesus, says, "Here's what I was thinking, is when he looks up and says, 'What should I, tell me what to do, I'll do anything.'" And Jonathan got down on his knees to look at Simon face to face. And he did that, and I immediately started crying. Yeah. It was such a powerful moment. And so for me, it was this, again, it was kind of both Catholic and evangelical at the same time. This looking up, but then Jesus coming to our level and the humanity of Jesus all at the same time.
But the encounter with Jesus is still an experience of the transcendent. And what you hope is that by seeing, by a sense that the transcendent is around us, you also have the immanent that's close and personal and present to you on your level. So it brings those together.